Hello and welcome to our luncheon on dementia and art. I'm Dawn Dilley. I am the program chair for the Art League. And first I wanted to say this is our first luncheon in like 2 years. It worked. And I want to give a special thank you to Chris Willing for jumping in. There's several people that are out of town and not here that would normally be doing these jobs. And she jumped in and did like a lot. And a special thank you to Sue Heiser, one of the people who couldn't make it, and Carol Purdy for arranging the luncheon today. And the decorations on the tables belong to Sue. And so she wants them to get us back to her. But there are antique postcards, if you didn't notice, that belong to her. And I also want to recognize anybody who is coming here from an assisted living facility. Yes. Thank you for coming. And I think there's another person that was.
Right, she didn't show up.
She didn't show up.
I'm trying to figure out where the turkey sandwich was.
All right. So, I'm going to introduce our speakers. Kirsten works as the marketing coordinator for Senior Home Companions. She graduated from Indiana State University with a BA in communication with concentrations in public relations and marketing. She loves the variety and creativity that the marketing field offers. In her free time, she loves painting, traveling, and making earrings for her Etsy shop. And Hannah is Angel Senior Home Solutions Business Development Coordinator. In this position, Hannah travels around the Lafayette and West Lafayette area to provide information about services that are provided by Angels. She has a BS in social work with a concentration in gerontology from Manchester University. Hannah and her husband have been together since high school and have 2 dogs, Tag and Barry. They keep busy renovating their home that was built in 1904. Wow.
Yes. It's fun.
On to you.
Thanks for. Is it on now? There we go. Thanks for coming, guys. This is Kirsten and I are fairly new to the Senior Home Companions community. So Senior Home Companions is kind of like our mother company out of Indianapolis. So Kirsten works down there, and then Angels is kind of like our little subgroup up here in Lafayette. So we'll go ahead and get started, I guess. So this is just a little bit of an overview for today. Just gonna kind of touch on Angels and our services and our history. Then we'll move on to some facts about dementia. We've got our little activity to do, and then we're gonna touch on our Story Cottages, which are located in Indy. They're super fun boutique memory care settings. So I know we just kind of introduced ourselves, but this is me, I'm Hannah. Like Dawn said, I graduated from Manchester University in 2018 with a social work degree. My concentration is in geriatrics. I've always worked with the geriatric population. I've been in long-term care here in Lafayette. I worked here in Lafayette at Franciscan Hospice for a while. And then I just recently was in Kokomo at an American Senior Communities building, running their cottage, which is a memory care unit. Had about 30 people over there, so that was really great. I also hold a LBSW, which is kind of new for the state of Indiana, but it allows me to still practice social work at a bachelor's level here in the state, so I can do assessments, things like that. My position's not really social work anymore, but it still allows me to use a lot of things that I've learned throughout different avenues here in Lafayette.
And then as Dawn, I just talk loudly. Dawn pretty much introduced me. I graduated last May from Indiana State University, and I studied communication And fun fact, I actually started as an art education major in college, so it's kind of cool that we get to do this presentation at an art museum. That's why the painting and making earrings is on there. So that's me.
Alrighty, this is our team here in Lafayette. We're a pretty small team and a pretty small office over on the west side, but Debbie, she is our care manager. So anybody that calls in having problems with maybe scheduling a caregiver, Debbie will help with that. There's me in business development, and then Barb is our coordinator. We were started in 1996 by Susan Jordan. In 2016 is when Senior Home Companions purchased our company. 98% of clients say that they would prefer Angel Senior Home Solutions, and we have an 87% caregiver retention rate. Sorry, this mic's gonna get the best of me today. Angel's purpose, creating active and engaged lives through exceptional care. So these are our top 3 priorities here at Angels. Be a hero to your client. Help maintain the client's high quality of life, whatever that may be, and personalize life in a facility. This is just a short little video that we like to show at our presentations. It's super cute. We didn't test run the videos, guys, sorry.
I don't have a Mac, so I'm like trying to figure out.
Technical difficulties.
Okay, well pretend it has sound.
Might be better without sound.
Yeah. So the purpose of this video us showing you is at the beginning you can see the dad was there with this little girl trying to airplane the food in, and she was not having it, so he just goes like it blew up, like, and then roles switch. So then at the end there it was his daughter attempting to help him eat, and it's just those little things every once in a while that'll spark that memory. Oh, hey, I remember that, and then you get that little chuckle out of them. Okay, so a little bit about our services. Angels is a non-medical care team. So by that, we do a lot of homemaking services and assistance with daily living. So some examples of that could be meal preparation, some housekeeping, changing linens, going on short walks, running to the grocery store, coordinating visits. So a lot of times we have some clients that their kids live in another state. So what we do is we go into that appointment with them and take notes. That way we can call their loved ones and just kind of explain what happened at the doctor's appointment. We provide a lot of companionship. We see that a lot of times people that are living at home, maybe their spouse has passed, or they never remarried, or their kids are out of state, that they just need somebody to be there with them just for conversation, boost their mood. We also, like I mentioned, like going out on the walks. We take people to the senior center here in town. It's really nice. And then personal assistance. So some things we can do are medication reminders. So maybe your daughter comes in and she fills up your Sunday through Saturday medications. We can say, hey Mary, it's time to take your Sunday afternoon pills, and she can go over and get them. We cannot dose medication, but we can say, hey, it's time to take these. We can also help with bathing. We can do help in the shower and also bed baths. as well as any incontinence care. So maybe you need help changing your brief, we can help with that, cleaning up after that. So, where we care. So we had some questions when we were kind of out and about. Angels is not just an in-home service. We can care in assisted living facilities, independent living cottages, as well as memory care settings. So a lot of times we will actually, maybe your loved one is looking at going into an assisted living here in the next month. We can start with them at home, kind of get everybody acclimated to each other. Then once you move into that assisted living, we'll be there for a few more weeks. That really helps say, hey, let's get out of that room, let's go meet new people. It's also somebody there that's gonna be a constant for them while they're transitioning into that assisted living community. Okay, so since my degree's in geriatrics, so I kind of went a little bit overboard on dementia, but I feel like it's something that everybody kind of might have an overview of, but I tried to sneak some fun facts in here for you guys. So the Alzheimer's Association defines dementia as a general term for loss of memory, language, problem solving, and other thinking abilities that are severe enough to interfere with daily life. So dementia is not a single disease. It's basically an overall umbrella term for different kinds of dementia, including Alzheimer's disease. Disorders are grouped under that general term. Basically, dementia is generally categorized as an abnormal brain change. These changes trigger a decline in skills such as talking, maybe motor skills, also known as cognitive skills, that again are severe enough to impair your daily life. They also affect behavior, feelings, and relationships. So here's this dementia umbrella term. I think I saw this in every textbook I had for college. So Alzheimer's does make up the vast majority of dementia cases. Lewy body dementia and vascular dementia are prevalent, but they're harder to diagnose. So we most of the time just see the general term Alzheimer's or dementia with Alzheimer's, something like that. Frontal temporal dementia is also another kind, as well as Parkinson's and Huntington disease are classified under that dementia umbrella. Sorry, there's a lot of words on these slides. So causes, diagnosis, and treatment. Dementia is caused by a damage to your actual brain cells. This damage interferes with the ability of brain cells to communicate back and forth with one another. When the brain cells can't communicate normally, your thinking, behavior, and feelings are all affected by this. There's not a singular test to say someone really has dementia. A doctor will kind of go through your medical history, do a physical exam, maybe some lab work, sometimes an MRI, things like that, as well as just stories from maybe your kids that say, hey, I've noticed recently mom's forgetting to do this, or we haven't put laundry away for a while, or looked through the mail. Just things like that they take into consideration. Like we talked about just a little bit ago, it's harder to determine the exact type of dementia just because a lot of the symptoms will overlap with each other, so it's just hard to kind of pin down what the actual dementia is. And then treatment of dementia kind of depends. So there are medications out there that can slow the dementia process. You see a lot of people maybe in a facility on a medication to kind of slow it down, but there's no real cure for dementia. So basically what we're doing at that point is just kind of treating the symptoms of dementia, whether it be medication, a facility you may be in, as well as different kinds of programming that can help. Well, since we don't have volume, which is totally fine, I'll just kind of explain. This video is, if you get on YouTube, if you'd like to watch it later, it's just how does a person with dementia see the world? So it kind of goes through and explains how the main character in the video has dementia and how different people may treat you, because not a lot of people will, I mean, you don't just wear a sticker that says I have dementia. So it kind of goes through her day of getting on the bus and where is she actually getting off. So maybe this lady's helping her at the grocery store and she can't fully say, she knows she wrote down eggs, but then she's like, oh no, the chickens, we need chickens here. So it just kind of goes through and shows how different people can help with dementia. Like I said, it is hard to just kind of pinpoint this person does have dementia, but we always want to be thoughtful of the geriatric population around us. Might just need an extra minute of help here and there. Stages of dementia. So they kind of rank dementia in 3 categories. So the early stages are the mild stage. So maybe somebody has problems coming up with your name. Like they don't remember the neighbor's name that they've lived next to for 10 years. Having difficulty performing new tasks, either that be at work, maybe in a social setting. Forgetting material that was just read, so reading the newspaper and then maybe rereading over and over a few times. Losing or misplacing a valuable object. Experiencing increased trouble with planning or organizing. The middle stages of dementia, or the moderate stage. Being forgetful of events or personal history. So now we're forgetting maybe our birthday, our wife's birthday, when our children were born.
Thank you for your patience and your love. Something's happening. There we go.
There we go. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so I think I turned it off, sorry. Is it there now? There we go. Okay. Feeling moody or withdrawn, especially in social situations. So maybe we're in a setting like this and you just see somebody becoming more and more agitated, where normally it would have just been an everyday thing for them to attend a lunch. Being unable to recall information about themselves. So phone numbers, address, where did I park? Maybe the college I attended. No, sorry, not that one. Experiencing confusion about where they are, or maybe what day of the week it is. Requiring help choosing proper clothing for the season. Maybe it's 20 degrees out and we have on a t-shirt and no coat. Maybe having trouble controlling bladder and bowels. That's another sign. Experiencing changes in sleep patterns. So we see this kind of frequently. Maybe days and nights get mixed up, or maybe we're waking up at 6, we're awake until 12, and then taking like a 6-hour nap. And then demonstrating personality and behavioral changes. So maybe you're seeing somebody that used to be super calm and polite get agitated more easily, being more anxious. And then the late stages. So this is a pretty close to the end of our dementia journey here, requiring a lot around the clock assistance with daily personal care. So that basically means they need help maybe transferring into a wheelchair, taking a shower, changing your brief. Lose awareness of recent experiences as well as their surroundings. So working in a memory care setting, you see some people just kind of walk around, say hi, and we're just happy throughout the day and just kind of going through, experiencing changes in physical abilities, including walking, sitting, and eventually swallowing. So this doesn't happen to everybody. I mean, some people are up walking around until the very last day of their journey, but we see a lot of people needing help getting into a wheelchair, forgetting that they're not able to walk or have that balance that they used to. And then the swallowing comes towards the very end. A lot of people will lose the need or the want to eat. They just don't find that it's something that interests them at that point. Having difficulty communicating, so a lot of people, we say word salad. So they'll talk to you and they know exactly what they're talking about, but to us it sounds jumbled or we're not quite sure. So a lot of times we'll use communication boards. You can even like a dry erase marker write down if they can still read and comprehend. Or there's some that are just pictures. Maybe there's a picture of pants and you're like, oh, we should change our clothes now, things like that. Then they become vulnerable to infections, especially pneumonia. That kind of goes along with the difficulty swallowing because they can aspirate on things, get aspiration pneumonia. All right, so now Kirsten is gonna go through, I think. Oh, I've got this slide. So art and dementia. Art allows people with dementia to be expressive in their own way, whether that be through maybe painting, drawing, writing. Art actually decreases agitation and depression. I'm sure it does for most of us here that like to paint and things like that, but for people with dementia, it's something that they can sit down and just kind of do whatever they want. It can be a form of communication for those that are nonverbal, like we just kind of talked about the cards that have things. A lot of people can draw out maybe a cup of coffee. Maybe that's what they want at that point. It provides them with a sense of accomplishment and purpose. Like, yes, I did this, and the praise that you give them for completing that task, they feel that accomplishment. It also promotes hand-eye coordination and then enhances the senses by using colors, textures, and scented items. Can also use maybe like a cooking demonstration. A lot of people like that. Maybe we'll make cookies and use different kinds of icing, sprinkles, things like that. Then it's a sweet treat as well. Okay, tips and tricks for crafts. So, when you're doing crafts with a group of maybe at a memory care setting, keeping the project at an adult level is key. We don't want anything that comes across as maybe too kiddie. We still want it to be at their level. Avoid anything that might be demeaning or seem childlike. Build conversation into the project. Provide encouragement. Discuss what the person's creating or reminisce with them. So we want to make sure that we're keeping them on task, but allowing them to lead their conversation or their piece of art. Help the person begin the activity. So maybe if the person is painting, you can guide their hand with the paintbrush in it, dip it in the paint, and maybe make a line on the piece of paper. That just kind of reinforces, hey, this is what we're doing here. Most other projects should only require basic instruction and assistance. Use safe materials, so we want to make sure we're using non-toxic paint and things like that, because sometimes those can just become it's on my hands and I'll put it in my mouth or things like that. Allow plenty of time, keeping in mind that the person doesn't have to finish the project and it doesn't have to look like the project that you've made to show everybody as a demonstration. They can come back to it in 5 minutes, they can come back to it tomorrow.
Okay, I just have a few slides about artists with Alzheimer's. So first we're going to start with William Uttermolen. I probably just butchered his last name, so sorry. So he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at age 61. And then from the time of his diagnosis to 2000, he was in a nursing home. And then when he was in the nursing home, he started a powerful series of self-portraits. Basically because he wanted to learn more about Alzheimer's and he wanted to understand what was happening to him. And by the end of the portrait series, you guys will see how much his memory has deteriorated. So the first picture here is before Alzheimer's, and then I believe the second picture was in 1996, and the last picture is in 2000. So you can see just how much his memory did deteriorate as his artwork became more flat and abstract.
And then going on to William de Kooning. So he was a Dutch abstract expressionist painter, and he was known for painting women figures in the 1940s. And a lot of his artwork, he used agitated, dense, dark tones. And then in the 1980s, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. After his diagnosis, his paintings have become more light, carefree, airy, and abstract. So the picture on the left is before Alzheimer's, and after is after Alzheimer's. But as you can see, his artwork did become a lot more light and carefree, and we kind of want that to happen with the artwork that we do with our dementia patients. So the public actually did not believe that the painting on the right was de Kooning's, and they made accusations against him that said someone else was painting for him and putting his name on it. So this theory kind of brings up neuroaesthetics, and that's the study of art and beauty. And this explains how we cognitively process aesthetic experiences and the underlying brain mechanisms. And this research allows us to pinpoint which parts of the brain are responsible for artistic ability. And that this research, a lot of people thought, or like could see de Kooning declining, and in the artwork they thought that they saw the signs of Alzheimer's before he even was diagnosed. So I thought that was really interesting. And that is a little bit about artists with Alzheimer's.
Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about our story cottages that are in Indy. So these are our story cottages. We classify them as a boutique memory care setting. So this is actually one of our cottages in Indy. We've got 2 right now, breaking ground on our 3rd. It should be built in the fall.
I think it's going to be finished this summer.
Ooh, be finished this summer. Good. So these homes are actually just nestled in any community. So if maybe we're here in Lafayette, we've put one over in just a just some suburb that you would not even realize it's out of place. So each building has a common room that's just a dining room, kitchen area, a huge living room. There's about 10 recliners in each living room. There are only 2 restrooms. So the restrooms are on each end of the hallway. So if you're on this side, you would use this restroom. And each of the showers are step-in. So these are the doors that open. You could fill it up if somebody would like a bath, or you can just do a shower with them. And then there's an example of one of our bedrooms. You can bring in whatever furniture you'd like, TV if you want. So it has a small closet here, room for your bed. A lot of people will put maybe another recliner in there. Oh, this is just our promotional video for Story Cottage. But it's on our website if you'd like to look at it.
It's really cute.
I guess it doesn't really have words.
Oh, it does have captions, so I guess we could play it, yeah.
It's just kind of a dude to it. Arts and crafts at Story Cottage. So these are some of our cottage residents and some crafts that they did around Christmas time and then St. Patrick's Day. So arts and crafts are a very important daily activity for our residents in Story Cottage. We usually have a craft at least once a day. Our residents enjoy these creative activities because it gives them the opportunity to use nonverbal expression. So they don't necessarily have to sit there and hold a conversation with you, but they can converse through their art. These activities help reduce agitation and boost mood while a feeling of accomplishment. So now it's our craft time. So I set out Easter wreaths, one of our activities that we did. So it's really just a paper plate that you can glue the little eggs on. I didn't get the glue stick for everybody. I think there's one or two at each table if you'd like to participate. And then there's a ribbon. A lot of people will do this, and then we put them on their door, maybe at the cottage. That way they can identify, hey, I made that, that's my room. So if you guys want to take just a couple of minutes, we can do that, and then we'll continue with the presentation. I think while people are finishing up their crafts, we have just a little bit more of a presentation to go through with you guys. I found this quote, or Kirsten found this quote. Dementia does not rob someone of their dignity. It is our reaction to them that does. Miss Teepa Snow said that, and if anybody has worked with people with dementia or just the aging population, Teepa Snow is an amazing resource. She has a ton of TED Talks and YouTube videos, and Kirsten is actually working on getting Teepa Snow to Indy next year to do a huge conference through SHC. So that's something we're working on, getting another resource close to us in Indy.
So be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout for that. And then I just did a short little segment on supporting those with dementia. So, everyday dementia care. Early on in Alzheimer's and related dementias, people experience changes in their thinking, remembering, reasoning, motor skills, in a way that affects their daily life. Eventually, people with these diseases will need more help as we've gone through it, even just a simple task, an everyday task. This may include bathing, grooming, dressing. It can also be very upsetting for that person because in those early stages of dementia, people may even realize like, oh, I'm forgetting how to do this, or I didn't do this. So it can become very distressing to them. So these are just some tips. I'll just go through a few of them. Tips for everyday dementia care. So trying to keep a routine, such as eating, bathing at the same time every day. Maybe every day at 2 you look at the newspaper. Keeping them on a routine really helps. Writing down to-do lists. So maybe if you're with your loved one today, maybe tomorrow at 1 there's a doctor's appointment. So it's good to say at 8 we're going to wake up and have breakfast. 9 we're doing dishes. 1 we have a doctor's appointment. Keeping a to-do list with them. Plan activities that the person enjoys and try to do them at the same time. So again, maybe a walk at 3 or something like that. When dressing or bathing, allow that person to do as much as they can by themselves before offering assistance. By loose-fitting, comfortable clothing, such as clothes with maybe an elastic waistband or pullover sweatshirts, things with buttons tend to become a little bit harder to get together. Using a sturdy shower chair really helps in the shower. It helps decrease falls and helps the caregiver as well. You can get shower chairs at CVS, Amazon. You can get a lot of medical equipment on the internet these days. Be gentle and respectful. So tell the person everything you're going to do before you start that process. And then serve meals in a consistent, familiar place and give that person enough time to eat. So maybe the husband sat at the head of the table every day for 40 years. Let's continue to have every meal there. It just keeps it consistent for him. Caregivers need a break too. I can't preach this enough. When you're caring for someone with dementia, it's a 24/7 job. I mean, you don't get a break. So always ask for help when you need it. It's okay to say, hey, tomorrow I can't help. Can my sister come out and sit with you? It's okay. Eat nutritious foods. You want to make sure you're staying healthy. You want to make sure you're sleeping too. Join a caregiver support group. There's a ton here in Lafayette. I know Franciscan Hospice puts on a really good one. They have a caregiver and bereavement support group. It's really nice. Meet with other caregivers. See what they do throughout their day. How do they stay calm? Take breaks each day. A lot of people make a cup of tea or maybe go walk out to the mailbox by yourself slowly and walk back in. Spend time with friends and keep up doing all of your hobbies. Get exercise as often as you can. We found that a lot of people do meditation and yoga. Really helps calm you. And then consider seeking help if you need it. Like I said, it's a 24/7 job, and it can create a lot of anxiety and stress in your life. These are just some area organizations around Lafayette for added support. So the Alzheimer's Association, they have a wonderful website that has a lot of info and resources. You can type in your zip code and it'll bring up a list of things that they have in your area. Area 4 is our local agency on aging. They can help with everything. Help you get signed up for maybe the Medicaid process, getting extra care in your home, things like that. And then Meals on Wheels. Meals on Wheels is pretty big everywhere. We do have one here in Lafayette, as well as I think it's Meals for Mom is another big one in Lafayette. And then I found this quote and I just thought it was great to end on. Beautiful young people are accidents of nature, but beautiful old people are works of art. Yep, I just put our info here at the end. Just again, Angels is a non-medical in-home caregiving group. We take private pay, Medicaid waiver, VA benefit, and long-term care insurance policies. So if you have any questions, let us know. Kirsten and I will be up here a little bit longer. You have a question?
I just have a contribution. We were at dinner last night with your friends, and he is a counselor chaplain at a hospital, and he read from this book called The Unexpected Adventures of Growing Old. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I read that in college.
It's a beautiful book.
It is.
Beautiful.
Yes. Does anybody have any questions we can answer? We can just kind of open it up for mingling again. Awesome. Well, thank you, Dawn. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. Both of you, it's way more informative than I expected. So we have memberships for you as a thank you to the Arley and the museum. And I also, so we hope that you join us and participate, and then also join the board too. And thank you all for coming, and I want to give a special thank you to Riel for helping set this up. And she does not have technical experience, so she did a great job.